NHL Nightly with your host, the sports, a.k.a. Peter Lebowski, a.k.a. Jeremiah Maxwell. And with him, as always, maybe Pearlo, Wisdom, and Rico and Barry.
Hey, everybody, this is NHL Nightly. I'm your host of Sports Beer, Jeremiah Maxwell. With me, as always, is Pearlo Wisdom, one of the best handicappers. We got Rico and Barry. Great. The best goal-scoring prop gambler there is, I think, personally. Anyway, and we are honored and welcome to have, once again, Jon Duncan from Off the Wall Hockey. Coming from you live in Massachusetts. We got the four corners of the earth covered in the hockey world tonight. Thanks for being with us, Jon.
Oh, thanks for having me. Always great to be here.
Yeah, I just love talking to hockey with you, man. I think, you know, you're like me. You're about the most unbiased fan I know. I mean, so we're getting ready. We'll definitely talk Leafs Bruins playoff matchups. Hot Take Hockey's going to come on. He didn't say he was going to come on for too long, so I really wanted to talk that matchup with him. So when he comes on, we'll get him on. I had a couple of notes. Today was the anniversary, 25 years to go today. What this happened in the NHL. Wayne Gretzky played his last game in the NHL in 1999. And I was trying to think of where I was in 1999. I was 23, 22, I think, 22.
1999.
So I was trying to think of where I was then. I know I was here, but you guys remember that day? I know, Jon, you don't have to answer this because I actually
I do not remember.
You were not alive for it, I don't think, right?
No, I was. I was 2.
You were 2 years old. Yeah, fair enough, man. It's like me and the 80 Olympic hockey team. It happened during my life, but I was 3. I don't remember anything about it. But I love it, and it's still my favorite sports moment of all time. Colorado's winning 4-0, by the way. So that
on
game
6 shots.
Yeah, I mean, who's in net for? Is Skinner in net?
Skinner.
Oh, God.
Dude, way to get his confidence up, boys. I
Oilers
love this.
goaltending in playoff form already.
Oh, my God, dude.
Well, I don't know why
totally,
Edmonton pulled all their starters and basically threw Skinner in net. Like,
to the Wolves, right? Why not play
Yeah.
Pickard in this? Dude, that's a miscalculation, right?
yeah, they should have played
It's
Skinner
not-
last night in Arizona and played Pickard in this one.
It's not Skinner's fault at all. Like they're just lost out there, the Oilers right now. So yeah. It's brutal.
Yeah, but Pearlo, you have to admit, hey, Tim York, thanks for being with us. Pearlo, you have to admit, like, this is not a good look for Skinner going into the playoffs, regardless if he played nobody in front of him. Like, Colorado doesn't need to win this game either. This is not a good look, dude.
It might be looking from the outside, but Skinner is going to look at this game and go, like, I can do nothing about this bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, throw it in the trash. Yeah.
I hope he has that mental. Look, I hope he has that capacity.
Well, any goaltender would have that. I mean, this is just absolutely ridiculous. They're not doing nothing. Nothing.
Okay.
Not a thing. They're. It looks like they're throwing the game away, actually.
Okay, but let's not waste our time on it then. Let's move on. I just wanted to acknowledge that today was the day Wayne Gretzky retired. I'll recap scores real quick. Kraken Wild 4-3. That's final. Kraken win a meaningless game. And I think Kaprizov came close to tying his franchise record of 47 goals, but he's going to finish with 46. Man, he started slow too, man. You think if he just netted a few earlier, he could have had 50, which would have been awesome. That's just another great performance this year. Jets are up 3-2 on the Canucks. I did not look at the lineups, but it looks like they're playing their full roster of players against each other. Flames are beating the Sharks 3-0. That's only 15 minutes left in the second. And with 8 minutes left in the first, Avalanche are beating the Oilers 4-0. We have the Ducks, Golden Knights, and Blackhawks, Kings yet to start. I've got the Ducks, Golden Knights on. That's the game that means something, right? Because if the Golden Knights don't win this game, it's not over for them to be in the third spot. but the Kings have to beat the Blackhawks, which I anticipate will happen. Where do you guys come out on that? Go ahead, John. You're our guest. You start. What do you think? How do you think this shapes out with the West?
Yeah, this is the last thing to be determined. I think Vegas is gonna finish third. The Ducks stink. The Ducks stink. I think Vegas.
Well, Gautier's debut tonight. Boston College guy.
Boston College kid.
I'm excited to see him play, 3 times in about 8 days because I saw him at the Frozen Four semifinals and national championship game. He stood out like a man amongst boys at college, and there were some very good players there. Obviously, he didn't do anything in the national championship game, but nobody else on his team did either. So with it all shaping out like that, we'll break down the playoffs here, and we'll go through it. But we talked about it last night, and we said we would open it up with our awards winners. So, John, we're going to real quick give us your Hart, Vezina, Jack Adams, Selke, Ted Lindsay, and the Norris. We didn't say Norris yesterday, but why don't you give us your Hart, and we'll just go around and we'll talk about it real quick.
Oh, geez.
I'll go first if you want me to go. I like Kucherov. I'm with Pearlo. I know he's going to say this. I think that just how much more he outscored everybody on his team. He was incredible this year. He's at over 40 goals and 100 assists. Only one other player in the history of the NHL has done that, and was really good, man. Like I gotta give it to him, man. So I really like Kucherov, and like he might be the best half wall player in the history of the league. It's just he makes it look like it's not hard, and I think that's why people don't like him or have a bad opinion. So I mean, I feel like it legit here in saying it. We'll just keep it to these top 3. I think your 3 finalists are Kucherov, McKinnon, and probably Panarin.
I mean, it's Kucherov or McKinnon. I think everyone in the world agrees on that.
Yeah.
I would probably lean Kucherov too. Just to see someone put up 100 assists in a season again, that was crazy that he got there because, God, it's been a long time since anyone's done that. And Tampa, again, is a team that kind of, is still relying on Kucherov, relying on Point, relying on Stamkos. Like the guys that they could keep, they obviously couldn't keep everybody with the salary cap. So they have to kind of heavily rely on those top guys that they did get to keep, Kucherov leading the way. And, Tampa's a team that very solidly, again, a playoff team we haven't seen a huge drop off from.
I'll say leading the way with 142 points. Like, talk about a season of all seasons. Incredible. He's going to win the Art Ross.
Yep.
Especially now because McDavid didn't play in this game, so he's not going to add to his total. And he was the only one and he would have had to have a 10-point night, which that wasn't going to happen against Colorado anyway.
Yeah.
So, yeah, real interesting there. Pearlo, do you want to expound upon Kucherov? Because I know you kind of gave your spiel last night, but I know that you were kind of going that way. Have you changed your mind?
Well, no, but I mean, the main thing here is you're talking about most valuable player, not best player in the league. And the best player in the league is the Lester B. Pearson Award, I think. The players vote on that. You could make a case that Colorado could make the playoffs without McKinnon. They could have. But there's not a freaking chance the Lightning make the playoffs without Kucherov.
Yeah, so you're not changing your argument.
No, the guy had points in half of their goals. He was in on half of the goals that they actually scored. I don't understand how you could possibly take anybody else but him. So
I will tell you, I heard on a lot of Canadian radio today Nathan McKinnon's name. I heard on U.S. television from AJ Olesko, an American.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry, guys. Dogs were barking.
Oilers just scored, if you care.
Okay. Yeah, I mean,
Dylan Hall.
Do you have the over in that game? We thought it would be the under. You have the over.
I have the
Okay.
over,
Yeah. There you go.
I
I
mean,
see
if
that
somebody-
Broberg and Holloway and all these guys that aren't going to do a damn bit of good for him in the playoffs. Yeah, we'll see, man. Vegas is underway with the Ducks, by the way. We're a minute and a half in that. Vegas wearing the home golds. So good to see everybody in the chat. Rick Smith, Tim York. Appreciate you.
Oh, Tim's in. Oh, cool.
Yep, we got it. We've had Tim in from the start, I think. And we're getting some viewers on Instagram, and I'm assuming we're getting quite a few on X because we have a lot of we have over 27 people in the chat. So I appreciate it. Rico, your final pick for the Hart Trophy. You don't have to give an argument.
No, I mean, I had McKinnon just like everybody else when he went on that rapid home point streak going on. It seemed like he was running away with it.
Yeah, I think he got one in every game, and I'm assuming he's got one or two tonight. Is he playing tonight?
Yeah, he's playing.
So then he got it in 40 of 41 games.
Yeah, I mean, now
That's
just unbelievable. But if somebody told me that two players are going to get 100 assists this year and neither of them are going to win the MVP, I'd find that just ludicrous too. So,
well, Kucherov will be the guy, right? Don't you think? Or you think
that's what I'm saying. Like, if McDavid and Kucherov got 100 assists and you give the Hart to somebody else, it just doesn't make sense anymore. I mean, Kucherov has just taken off lately, and he's just running away with it down the stretch here. So you got to kind of give it to him. In my opinion, I mean, nobody scores 100 assists in this league anymore. So,
yeah, McKinnon has 2 assists tonight. Oh, he's gonna be climbing that list too. Okay, I think this is a really easy one, guys. The Vezina. I'll just say real quick. I think it's Hellebuyck. John, where are you at on the Vezina?
Connor Hellebuyck. Yep. In a year where goaltending's kind of, especially the big name goalies, have taken a bit of a dip, Hellebuyck has stood on his head, and a massive reason why Winnipeg is where they are.
Yeah, I think you could make an argument for Demko, but he missed too much time. And Bobrovsky's actually been quite good, but
he has been.
He hasn't been Hellebuyck's level. I'm gonna guess my main man Pearlo's gonna say Hellebuyck. Go ahead, Pearlo.
33.1 goals saved above expected. That's for sure. Nobody's even close. No.
Yeah.
Do you know what's funny? Do you know who's third? Just real quick, Anthony Stolarz is 20.1 goals saved above expected. He's going to get paid next year, man.
Yeah, he's done well for Florida. They can let him leave, though, because they got Spencer Knight coming up the wings. I've heard he played real well. Rico, who do you got? I'm going to guess Hellebuyck.
Yeah, well, it's got to be Hellebuyck because, like, during the year, Winnipeg wasn't blowing anybody out. They were winning low-scoring games, and that was mainly on the back of Hellebuyck. Like, you were missing Scheifele. You missed Connor for most of the year. Viardi's been out for a long time. Like, consistently.
Yeah, they've had some injuries for sure
on that team. So Winnipeg went through a stretch of winning really low-scoring games, and Hellebuyck wasn't in that. There's no way Winnipeg would be where they are, so he's definitely Vezina.
Tim says goalie change in San Jose, Romanoff in. Okay. Is that game out of control? I wasn't even looking at that game. Oh, it was 3-0, wasn't it? Oh, it's 5-0 Flames. Oh, it's in Calgary, I thought. I thought the game was in Calgary.
Yeah, anyway. It is. Kadri's still looking for his 30th, though. Coleman got his tonight.
Tim, it's in your town and you didn't even know it. Say what you said about Kadri again. I'm sorry.
Oh, Kadri's just looking for his 30th goal. Hopefully he gets it tonight. Coleman got his 30th and Mackenzie Weegar got his 20th. So Kadri's been sitting on 29 for a couple of games now.
Oh yeah, you got a goal scoring prop on him to be hit 30 in this game. He doesn't have 30 and they have 5 goals. Oh my God, dude. You might have got snake bitten on that one.
Oh, it's still less than
Coleman, Rooney, Klapka, Weegar, and Shillington have goals. But Kadri does have 6 shots on goal.
Ah, perfect.
So not for a lack of trying. Jesus Christ. He doesn't have a point in the game. And he has 6 shots on goals. He doesn't have a point in a game in a 5-goal game when it's halfway. It's the end of the second, is it not? Okay, or whatever. Okay, let's move on. Jack Adams. I'm not going to give one here. What do you think, John?
Oh boy, there's some good candidates for this one. Obviously Spencer Carberry getting Washington into the playoffs. His name's come up a lot recently.
Don't give it to him. I don't want him to get it. It's the kiss of fucking death. You get fired 2 years after you win the damn thing.
Yeah, true. How about
Rick Tocchet can have it. Rick Tocchet can have it.
That's who I was just gonna bring up was Rick Tocchet out in Vancouver to take that team that has,
they missed the playoffs.
So much issues, a team that's had a talented roster but hasn't lived up to the expectations with it. Tocchet comes in and now they're a first place team and win the Pacific. I mean, that stands out to me as a team that's gone from way down here to way up here very quickly.
Yeah. I think they're going to win a playoff round. I think people are sleeping on them. But, yeah, I love it. Pearlo, I think we talked about this last night a bit. You were on Tocchet as well.
Actually, I was on Carberry.
You've been a Carberry supporter the whole year, for sure.
I wanted to say that the reason why is you got to remember Vancouver did not have Demko most of the year last year. Now he was injured this year as well. And I had Vancouver as a bubble team. I had Washington as a nowhere near team. So I was really surprised that Washington got to where they are. So for me, if it was me, and I know it's probably going to be Tocchet, and he deserves it. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve it.
No one's saying it's not. I love that you've advocated for Carberry. I just don't want him to win.
I think Carberry brought a team that I personally did not think was even going to be close to. I just thought he did a hell of a job.
If I would have told you at the beginning of the year, the Capitals would not have Kuznetsov. Baxter wouldn't play anything for him. They would get less than 10 points from Max Pacioretty. You're like, they're not even. They're probably in contention for Macklin Celebrini. You're thinking.
Yeah, the only thing.
And they made the playoffs. Like we have 30 in the chat. No.
The only thing that would probably definitely keep them off is how well Lindgren played. But I like to make a case that good coaches make good goaltenders. I don't think it's the other way around a lot of the time. I think a lot of time coaches to create an environment that's better for goaltenders.
Oh, I don't disagree with that. I think
but that's not what the voters are going to look at. I think Tocchet wins all day. I really do. Yeah.
So Rick Smith likes Peter Laviolette. I think Laviolette will be a finalist. And hey, Laviolette left Washington. He didn't get fired. His contract was up. They just decided to get Carberry, which I think was the absolute correct move. They needed to go to a youth movement. Capitals traded at both trade deadlines. Also, the Feud had told me they'd have traded away Edmondson, and I think they traded another guy away too, didn't they? I thought they traded 2 guys away. You'd be like, they're not making the playoffs. So, Rico, why don't you finish us off with the Jack Adams, and then we'll move on to the Selke.
Yeah, you guys threw all the names I was talking about in there. Rick Tocchet, he took over Boudreau halfway through the league last year, and that team hasn't looked back. I mean, Tocchet even did a pretty good job when he was down in Arizona, but since we haven't spoke of this guy, too, I'll throw his name in there, too. I think Jim Montgomery. I mean, you pull Bergeron and Krejci out of that lineup, basically arguably your top 2 centers off that team. Nobody was giving Boston a chance to.
And they won. They almost won the division. They came with a game of winning the division. Yeah, I agree.
You can kind of throw his name on there. Looking at the Bruins on paper going into this year, a lot of people said, "Ugh," but at 109 points isn't something to shake a stick at. So throw Montgomery in there, maybe as a 4th.
I was going to say real quick. I'm sorry, Rico, if I cut you off.
No, I'm done.
Also, I really think Peter DeBoer has done a really good job in Dallas. And, they got the team. They're deep because they've drafted well. But you could, like Pearlo was just saying, bad coaches will mess up a good goalie. He doesn't think it's the other way around. A good coach will make could make a team, make a good team bad. They could make a good team bad, I think. So, Going to be interesting. I love that the Ducks are playing this tight. Still no score in that game. Just to give a quick update for you guys that are listening to us and aren't able to watch the Vegas Golden Knights and Anaheim Ducks. I put LA, and I have a Ducks jersey, but I put LA and the Vegas Golden Knights jersey behind because those are the two teams that can swap positions tonight if things change. So LA Chicago hasn't started because that's a 10:30 puck drop Eastern. So, and we're just 20
I'll
minutes.
throw one more name out there, and he's not going to probably get anything. But Andrew Burnett in Nashville, like, I mean,
Yeah.
No, I heard his name early in the year, man. Especially they went on that ridiculous winning streak, and so yeah. Okay, so Selke, John, who do you like here? I don't have one here.
Well, I can't just pop off Patrice Bergeron's name like I could year after year after year anymore.
I know they could name the word after him and no one would say a damn word, John.
Yeah. You know, obviously, I think Alexander Barkov's the first name that everyone thinks of because he's kind of the Selke guy now with Bergeron retired. But I like Sebastian Aho in Carolina.
Okay.
I think he's someone that kind of is a little bit off the radar, but deserves some attention when it comes to this award. He's a really good two-way player. He's over 54% in the face-off dot. You know, a guy that's a clear star first-line center, gives you 80-plus points, also plus 34 on the year. So kind of someone to break up the names a little bit that are always associated with this award over and over and over again. I think Aho should really get thrown into the mix.
No, I dig it. Pearlo, what do you think?
Well, yeah, I agree. But I'll throw another one out there because I do think the same thing will happen with the Selke as normal. It's just going to go down the list of who used to be and now who is. But I'll throw one out there though that it probably, I don't know, maybe he will get votes. Lowry in Winnipeg has been an absolute beast this year defensively. I mean, he's always been good, but this year he's taken it to like a whole new level. Barkov deserves it, no doubt about it. You can give it to him anytime. But I will mention this, and I've mentioned it before, and I want to keep on mentioning it. McDavid is almost elite defensively this year. He's not as good as Barkov, and he's not as good as Lowry. But when you consider the offense that guy puts up, McKinnon's not very good at. Neither is like a lot of offensive guys. Draisaitl's not very good defensively. He has taken his defensive game to like levels that are ridiculous.
Okay, Rico. I want Rico to go. Let Rico go. Rico, who do you like for the Selke?
I'll throw another name out there. I'll throw out Nick Suzuki for the Montreal Canadiens. This guy's like, there's not much center depth in Montreal right now, and this guy's playing over 40% of his shifts against the other team's top lines. He's got an average of 2.53 goals against allowed while he's on the ice all year. For a Montreal team, I think he's an honorable mention.
Yeah, I was gonna low key say JT Miller too is like a plus 32 and plays very good two-way game and is a pit bull. And like I could see him being a Selke finalist too. I think that Vancouver's going to surprise teams in the playoffs on how well they played defensively, and that really their biggest problem when they went through the doldrums of the season was the fact that Thatcher Demko was hurt and they just had to ride Casey DeSmith. So Vegas has 7 shots to Anaheim's 1, and they're halfway through the first. Still no score. Just a real quick update. Jets are still up on the Canucks. That game is almost over. Flames are dismantling the Sharks. That's 5-0. That we don't need to revisit that. It's still at the intermission with Edmonton and Colorado at 4-1. And the Kings Blackhawks are about to drop the puck any moment here. Okay. I feel like that's good on the awards. Let's start talking the playoff matchups. And I did want to see if our main man HTH was going to So I want to hold off on the Bruins Maple Leafs just in case. And we know the East is set. So let's start with the number 1 versus the 8. The New York Rangers versus the Washington Capitals. I'll just go really fast and then we'll throw it to John. I need the Rangers to win this for my marriage, guys. Like, this needs to happen. I cannot have the Capitals beating the Rangers whatsoever. As a diehard Caps fan, I'm just like, nope, don't want it. So, John, where are you at on this one?
I think the Rangers will get the job done. I think Washington will stay in this series as long as Charlie Lindgren will keep them in this series. I think it's completely on Lindgren to make this close. He was insane down the stretch for the Capitals, and those last few games where they were desperate for wins, he stood on his head. Everything was low scoring. Yeah, I was super impressed watching him these last few weeks and just the pressure that was on his shoulders, and he just stayed in there, giving up 1-2 goals a game. Capitals kept winning. He's going to be an X factor as far as Washington having a chance to pull off the upset, but I think the Rangers are going to get the job done.
Can't disagree with you. Pearlo, where are you at on this Rangers Caps? You said Caps yesterday. Have you changed your mind?
Well, I didn't really say Caps. It just would not surprise me at all. I think people are sleeping on the Caps in this one.
I thought you did say Caps. Did you not say Caps?
Yeah.
I didn't make this up. I'm not Cap.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I haven't really put it out there, but I could go get there. I could get there. I really could. I really think the Rangers are going to undervalue them. I do think the Caps will win the first game. And then we'll see what happens if they wake up after that. But I just got this, like, they got a big team. They got a playoff type team. And I don't think the Rangers do. I don't think Zibanejad really, like, doesn't give me any warm and fuzzies going into the playoffs. Panarin was great in the regular season. He always is. But he craps it out in the playoffs. Now, you've got Laviolette there. Maybe he can change things around that way for a lot of these players. But I might get there. I might actually take the Caps as my big freaking dog pick for the playoffs this year. I might get there.
Okay, Rico, where are you coming out on this Caps Rangers?
Yeah, I try to think of the Capitals any way I can, but New York's been arguably the hottest team in the Eastern Conference over the last couple months. I mean, they took the President's Trophy. Panarin's been playing amazing. I'm pretty convinced that Washington could probably steal one game in this series, to be honest with you. I can't see them keeping up with the pace and the scoring that the Rangers have. If it goes 6, I'll be very surprised. So, yeah.
Well, it's going 7. It's going 7 only because
I hope so for you, man.
It's going 7 because someone wants to test my marriage. The hockey gods.
Yeah. I'm hoping for you, buddy. I'm cheering for you, man.
We're in a good place, man. Like, the Caps and Rangers haven't played in the playoffs for a few years. You know, I told her ass. Oh, here we go. We got Hot Take Hockey. Let's bring in John. Hey, John, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you.
Good to see you.
So perfect timing, John. You're just finishing up with the Caps Rangers playoff. Pearlo is saying he could get on the Caps. I'm saying the Rangers have to win this for the sake of my marriage. So I just don't care. I just want the Rangers to win. Let the Rangers win. It's already Christmas for me that the Caps made it and Sidney Crosby is sitting at home, boys. I'm just telling you. That shit, you don't know how much that means to me. I'm so jazzed on that. I know a lot of people are heartbroken. I saw a playoff expansion today because Crosby didn't make it. It made me feel really warm and fuzzy, which I wouldn't mind playoff expansion anyway. But I just the Penguins had their chance to make it in. They didn't. Where are you at with the Rangers Caps, John? Sorry.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, I'm still gonna probably decide on my official predict. Like, I have a feel on most of the series. Obviously, we'll find out about the Oilers tonight. But yeah, I mean, Rangers Caps. I think everything points towards the Rangers. I feel like most people are going to point towards that. But, I mean, there's probably a couple aspects I'd look at for the Caps. One being just the momentum. And we've seen like so many teams squeak in at the end in the playoffs and go on a miracle run. So I think the scenario where the Caps maybe make this a series is like if the Rangers go up, like same thing as Boston against Florida last year. If Rangers go up 3-1 and then get a little nappy, maybe the Caps make it a series. But I would say with that not being the case, I'm probably leaning like Rangers in 5. I think if Shesterkin plays this game, the Caps probably don't touch this series, but we'll see what happens.
Okay. After that being said, we previewed the first game. I want to do the formal introduction. Y'all know, most of you know, Hot Take Hockey, John Viveros. John, really good to have you. Thank you for coming in, doing a little bit of a playoff preview with two legends who happen to like the two teams that are playing each other. One, John being a diehard, Jon Duncan being a diehard Bruins fan, and John Viveros being a diehard Toronto Maple Leafs fan, HTH. But before we go into this preview, I just want to do the intro. I know you're working for the Bulldogs. How's that? Is that done? Are they done? Is their season over?
Yeah, they lost to Ottawa in the playoffs, so they got eliminated.
The 67s, the Ottawa 67s?
Yes, the Ottawa 67s.
Okay.
So Blue Jackets prospect Luca Pinelli just ripped it up against us. So pretty salty about that. But no, it was sick. I mean, just seeing some of the guys, like, I think the best part about just being like in the job is just seeing some of the guys like get called, like Florian Jacki getting called up to the Laval Rocket, Nick Lardis getting signed his entry-level deal with the Blackhawks, and then joining the AHL team. Tomas Hamara just joined the Belleville Sens, the Sens AHL team. So it's just cool seeing these guys behind the scenes. And then obviously just, I was even able to interview Nick Lardis this year. So that was cool. But
sweet.
Yeah, no, it was fun. It ended way too short. I wish it lasted longer.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, coming back from the Frozen Four and getting to see guys like Macklin Celebrini and Lane Hudson, getting to talk to Kent Hughes about Lane Hudson, and then having Kent Hughes sign Lane Hudson the next day was just surreal, guys. It was crazy, and I love getting to see these young kids play. I got to get out and do it more. I got to try to get to some more college games. We're definitely going to do the college corner. John, I'm going to hit a Providence game, and you're going to have to be on that one with me.
We all got to hit Mass. We all got to head out.
Yeah, I got to get out there somehow to get to where my boy Jon Duncan is. You know, Rico and HTH have been treated to a Leafs game. We got to get to Edmonton for Pearlo. That could be the Stanley Cup Finals. Let's go ahead and bust into that Leafs-Bruins series. Let's start with you, HTH, and then go to Jon Duncan. How are you feeling about your Leafs? I know the last 4 games did not look great. You got to be a little down bad, as you would say, on Matthews not hitting 70. Where are you at there?
Yeah, no, you're putting me on the hot seat. Yeah, you know what? I actually wasn't as down bad about the non-70. I mean, for a few reasons. Like, one just being, like, I feel like the Leafs are always
hilarious.
Pardon? Well, sure, that's hilarious. Sure, that's hilarious. But I was going to say, I feel like the running joke, and maybe Rico can speak on this as another Leaf rep, is like, it's always about the season accomplishments. It's always about these season awards for these guys. It's always about what they do in the season. Everyone gets all hoo-ha, celebrate what they're doing through 82 games. And then obviously we've seen it time and time again. So, I mean, I'm not too upset about it. I mean, I said it a couple times already the last 24 hours. If anything, the guy's hungry. The guy was hungry to score one more goal. So if he's going to score a few more in big moments when it actually matters, then I'm down for him to be one off from 70. So there's that. And then also, I mean, I'll just looking at past Bruins teams that have played the Leafs. I mean, again, the Leafs totally could just lose this series because the Bruins have had their number. Certain guys on the Bruins just have the Leafs number specifically. Like DeBrusk has always been a Leaf killer. Marchand knows how to get under these guys' skin. Pasta just rips it up regardless. Probably best tandem or one of the best tandems in the league. So there's so many elements. I mean, McAvoy to me is easily a top 3, top 4 D-man in the league. I can go on and on, but the Leafs are probably the best set up to play a team like Boston than they have ever been. I mean, I look at Toronto. I look at Toronto's third line compared to Boston's third line, and putting bias aside, I'm curious what John off the wall thinks. But I'm looking at a potential matchup of having like Nylander on the third line. with, I don't know, they could line up Domi and Nyes or something if they do have Marner and Matthews together on the top. And I mean, something like that against if it's Geeky and JVR on the third line or whatever combo they go with. But I do think the Leafs are probably the best setup that they've been in years. I think the only other guy I wish was here still was O'Reilly, because I think that guy's just built for the playoffs. But outside of that, I think the Leafs are much better style-wise for a team like Boston. And I also, sorry, I just want to add, in saying that, I also watched the last 2 games of the Leafs getting pumped by Boston in the regular season. But again, regular season and playoffs, I think 2 different things, so we'll see.
No, I got you there. So you're taking the Leafs in, or you want to be?
Oh, you're saying? Oh, yeah, prediction.
You don't have to give games. You could just pick who you think is going to win the series. I mean, I think everybody that was listening to you can garner that you're on Toronto to win this series. I don't disagree with you, just based on what I saw from Boston. The Caps played Boston down the stretch. It was a meaningful game for Boston. It was a super meaningful game for Washington. And I thought they played maybe the best game they played all year. But I also didn't like what I saw from Boston. I'm sure John's going to echo that sentiment when he gets a chance. Where are you thinking your Leafs are as far as winning this series, and if that's where you're leaning?
Yes. Sorry, I was just going to say, I guess this is a lazy answer, but it's kind of what I just alluded to. Like, Boston's got Allmark and Swayman. And John, I also want your thoughts on this. Last year, Boston's probably huge regret was, like, the Allmark Swayman switch. Probably by game 5, you realized, okay, Allmark, there's something up here.
Yeah.
And had by game 6, they switched to Swayman. Maybe they still lose game 6, but at least Swayman gets that game, and then he's more prepared for game 7. So I think they've learned that lesson there. And I think the one thing that's going to make or break the series here is if Samsonov is not at least 80% of what he was, Jeremiah, in that series last year against Tampa, Boston's going to take this series. He's got to be at least 70-80% of what he was, because he was unreal against Tampa last year, obviously. But he's got to be at least 70-80% of that for the Leafs to win this series. If not, I mean, Boston has 2 options, and I think they're going to learn their lesson that they didn't learn last year. So that's my answer. That's how the Leafs will win this series.
Yeah. John, let's go right to you, man. How where are you feeling here? I know I hear from a lot of Bruins fans. Portnoy today got on Twitter and was shitting all over Bruins fans for being having no faith in the team. Where are you at with your Boston Bruins?
Pretty not overconfident, not down on them though. I feel decent going in. I'm quietly confident, I would say. I would never go into a playoff series overly confident after the garbage we saw last year. I think that, I like playing the Leafs more than I liked the thought of playing the Lightning, just because the Lightning just always seem to have the Bruins number come playoff time. The last few times that it's been Bruins Lightning, it's been brutal for the Bruins. And it's kind of the opposite with the Leafs. We have all the recent history is in the Bruins' favor when it comes to Boston versus Toronto in the playoffs. So I feel decent about it. I feel like Toronto is also the best that they've been for this matchup. I think Toronto is a lot tougher than when we were playing them back in 2018, 2019. This Leafs team has legitimate grit. This Leafs team doesn't get pushed around like those teams did, 4 or 5 years ago. And this Boston team also isn't necessarily really the big bad Bruins either. Obviously, bringing in Maroon kind of gave a boost in that regard. But before that, they were pretty much it was Trent Frederick, and that was it. You
guys needed that toughness. The Lucic thing, we didn't talk enough about how big a loss that was for the Bruins early in the year.
Yeah, and I mean, having Maroon at least available now, he may not play every day, but he's a guy that if the series gets nasty can be inserted into that lineup and bring some real toughness into the lineup. I think it's going to be a great series. I think it's definitely going a long series. It's going to be 6 or 7. And I do want to give Toronto the credit that they're a good hockey team and they're a much better built for playoffs hockey team than what we're seeing back in 2018. And I think they're going to give the Bruins a real run for their money. I do think Boston has the edge as far as goaltending is concerned. I trust the Bruins goaltending more than I trust Samsonov. Now, that doesn't mean Samsonov can't get hot and play great and steal it, but I think, just going into it, I have more faith in the Bruins goaltending. I think you're going to see both Bruins goaltenders in this series. I don't think we're going to have the issue like we did last year where they're after, alternating them all season, they just go, you know what? We're just going to ride this guy into the ground.
And you can tell Olmark wasn't 100%. It just didn't look right. Yeah.
Yeah. That was such a bad decision last year. I think you're going to see both goalies play in this series. And I think it's going to be a knock 'em out, drag 'em out rivalry playoff series that is going to be a heck of a lot of fun to watch. Is probably going to come down to 1 or 2 goals, probably have at least a couple overtime games. We saw 2 of the games in the regular season between them went to overtime. In the end, I feel like I really want to go Boston in 7, just kind of for old time's sake. But I think it's going to be a heck of a hockey series and a lot of fun to watch for the fans. That even with take me being a Bruins fan out of it, this is still the favorite series for me going into the playoffs that I would make sure I'm watching every game of.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that assessment. I know HTH, you're probably feeling the same way. I mean, Vegas Edmonton. If we get Vegas Edmonton,
I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping.
Yeah, that will be awesome.
Yeah, I want Vegas Edmonton so bad. I said I think Edmonton could beat them, no problem. They beat them this year. But okay. I'm excited, man. You guys got me wild. And let's get to Pearlo and Rico real quick on this, because Rico definitely a Leafs supporter as well. Pearlo, just real quick, give your answer. Who do you like here, Leafs or Bruins?
Bruins in 5.
Oh, wow. Okay. Okay.
I have no faith. I have no faith in Toronto's defense or goaltending. And Boston's defense is way better. Their goaltending, it's not just a little bit better. It's way better. The only way Toronto has them is up the middle, and offense doesn't win in the playoffs. So Boston in 5. That's what I said.
Cool. I mean, we're going to see. We'll talk the implications of what Pearlo said is right after this, because I want Rico to have a rebuttal here. Rico, how you feeling legit?
I legit get nervous. Like I watch the Leaf games during the year, but in the playoffs, it's like everything's magnified, man. You watch every little single play, every single little check. And I know Toronto is built again in this playoff with Bertuzzi, Domi, McCabe, got Edmondson, like they got some guys. I just hopefully the officiating doesn't just ruin it, because there's going to be a little bit of physicality. And for once, Toronto might be a little physical, the Boston Bruins. So just hopefully not stupid happens. Hopefully they're keeping Samsonov in a nice, safe, quiet space right now where he can just start that game 1 with a clear head, a clear conscience. It's just a new season. And you know what? If I was writing in the Toronto Star, I would have put unfinished business with Matthews with a 69 beside his name, because that 70 doesn't mean anything, man. Winning in the playoffs is basically what it's all about. So you know what? Just be driven because of it. And I mean, it'll be interesting how they set up their lines. I mean, Toronto's so deep. Even last year, man, the Leafs brought up Gustafsson and Luke Schenn. Like they had a couple extra guys that even sat out sometimes. Like they were built to go through a playoff with Ryan O'Reilly. Like, man, if we would have got past Tampa, just Toronto's basically made like that again this year.
You beat Tampa last year. What are you talking about?
I mean, I got you. Leafs in 6.
I knew what you meant.
Yeah. Leafs in 6. And they don't want to go to Boston for Game 7. So,
okay,
I'm going to be a nervous wreck, man. So,
okay, real quick, I do have an announcement. That they did announce the winner of the Jennings tonight. That's Hellebuck and Brossoit. So that happened while we were live 11 minutes ago. I just wanted to say that. Let's talk about the implications in Toronto, which we know the media they're chill as fuck. I mean, like, they're not going to – if the Leafs lose in 5, what do we have happening, HTH?
Oh, so yeah, we're following like the track if Pearlo's dream comes.
Yeah,
true.
Pearlo is correct, which we
Not
know.
my dream. It's not my dream.
Yeah, you
I
know,
don't
Pearlo
hate Toronto
is
or
from
anything like
originally
that.
from Ontario.
Well, let's just
Yeah,
say, I
don't
mean,
hate Toronto.
yeah, I don't know. I think like I've already seen a couple things where it's like I feel like the two guys I've been seeing a lot of are like Marner and Riley, just like being like the Canadian boys. Like I feel like those two guys will get ripped, but at the same time, and Rico, I don't know if you've seen this a lot online. Like I've kind of been quiet about it because I'm just like, you know what? We'll wait to see what happens in the playoffs. But Nylander has been going for a Sunday skate for like 3 weeks now.
Real quick. Did you hear Sheldon Keefe's comment that Willie was done with the regular season about a week ago? I'm like, why the fuck were you playing him then?
So if you guys want the craziest clip I've seen all season in terms of laziness, go see what Sam McKee posted last night because I missed like most of the game last night. But my brother was even like, I honestly think that's the craziest clip I've ever seen from Sam McKee. Like, so Nylander's just going on the forecheck and the puck's like right in front of him. And I think it was a delayed penalty anyways, but he just does like a figure eight basically.
He goes slow to the bench too. His guy's late. The guy gets on and he gets a minus.
And then they score. And if that happens in the playoffs, I might just start throwing things. I don't know.
And you just paid this guy $11 million a year. That's what's even more alarming to me. Is like
0.5
what's happening.
Or 0.6. I
And
don't know.
that game meant something to the Leafs because they were trying to get Matthews his 70th. Like,
yeah, but Nylander doesn't have a goal in his last 12, so whatever. He's ready for the playoffs.
I mean, that's the only thing I'd say is like, yeah, I mean, that's like so long of a drought that like he has to turn it on at some point, and maybe it's like for the perfect time. But yeah, Jeremiah, it's as simple as this: is there's guys on 1-year deals here, so if they go out in an embarrassing fashion, like it is going to be the most jarring off. Like last year and the year before, we're like, okay, like all these guys are up for contract, but now it's down to the scenario where, I mean, you've got 1-year deals and you just signed Nylander long term. How can these guys all internally look each other in the face, look each other in the eyes, and then just pay Marner $12 million per year if they get knocked out in 5? So if that happens, I think this year I'm not even going to say it. Like I just like the last couple of years I've been yelling about trading a core 4 guy, but if it happens this year, like I don't even know if I'll say it because I think it's just like obvious.
No, yeah, Marner has to be traded, but I think specifically maybe what I was more curious is Keefe back? Is Shanahan back?
I don't think Shanahan's back if they get pumped in the first round. I don't think Shanahan's back. Keefe, I think it would just come down to Trey Living, but I think the Shannon plan would be done if they got pumped. Here's the thing. In Leafland, it's all about excuses, Jeremiah. If they lose a tough, like, Game 7 against Boston at the Garden.
And there's a controversial call. There won't be any changes.
I think it'll be status quo. I think it'll be, okay, sign Mitchie Marner up. They lost a tough series against Boston in Boston.
Oh, you'd keep Marner. What if Marner doesn't do shit? What if he's 0 points and like a -3?
Well, man, we went over this. In his career in Game 5, 6s, and 7s. He has 1 goal.
Yeah, it's not good.
Isn't that crazy? Like,
I
always say that out loud, and I'm like, in Games 5, 6, and 7 in Mitch Marner's playoff career, he has 1 goal.
Yeah, and he's playing power play minutes, first line playing. He's on the ice a lot in the playoffs.
I'm telling you guys, this Domi Bertuzzi thing with Matthews is the best thing to happen to the Leafs. They needed to get Marner away from Matthews.
So I think there's like such a political thing going on there because why on earth would you try to send Marner? Like the Bertuzzi, Domi, Matthews thing's working.
It's awesome. It's been the best line of the year for them.
And then you split it up again and put Marner, and then Matthews doesn't get to 70.
Hello, Keefe tries to open up our eyes too much. Yeah, I know your thoughts on Keefe, and I definitely want to get your thoughts because I know you said you wouldn't be able to say it was a super long. But I definitely want to get.
It's cool, but what I'm saying, and you and I have agreed on this, is look at your matchup. You're playing the Bruins, who, and I'm sure John would speak on it. They are probably the thinnest on forward depth that they've ever been. Why on earth would you try to stack up a top line when the Bruins defense is just going to focus on shutting that down? Put Matthews on one line, Marner on one line, Nylander on one line, the Bruins would not be able to stop that.
Nylander's going to torch a third line. And if he's playing like he actually wants to play, I mean, I don't think there are very many third lines.
I even go look at the Boston Bruins in 2011. They had 4 lines rolling like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Go look at the Pittsburgh Penguins HBK.
And that Vancouver team they played, the HBK line. But like, because, the Leafs sauced Kessel. See, this is all the hockey gods punishing you for just trading Kessel for a bag of nickels or whatever. Sammy Kapanen, I know you guys thought he was going to be good. Anyway, he wasn't. So it was a terrible trade. He ended up trading him back. So you even think if it's a close series or the status quo, I heard Kipper today kind of say, I thought he was I think if they lose in the first round, it's like we're going to see Shanahan potentially without a job. I think Tree Living's probably the only guy to stay, and I actually think he's done a fantastic job since he's been there. I think he had a mess to clean up. I'll also say this, and I want to ask you this question. I had thought of this and wanted to ask you, and I should have prepped you, but I know you'll have this on the tippy top of your tongue. If Dubas would have stayed, do you believe they would have traded Marner last year?
I think they would have traded someone. Yeah. I don't know if it was Marner, but I think they would have traded someone. I think he was ready to pull the trigger and trade someone.
But Marner or Nylander, you think one or the both?
Well, so I'm like somewhat agreeing with you. The only reason I'm agreeing with you, though, not because I think that he necessarily wanted to do it, but I think he was the only one that could do it because Marner's no movement clause didn't kick in until July 1st. And the rumor was that Dubas was trying to pull the trigger on something before that.
Yeah, I heard that same rumor. Yep.
Once Marner's no movement clause kicked in July 1st,
he was screwed. He couldn't do anything, and it didn't matter because he was leaving for the Pittsburgh Penguins anyway. Okay, yeah. I mean, I think we've talked. Okay, let's. Do you guys want to spend any more time talking about Leafs Bruins? It's going to be a great series. I agree with you guys.
Question for John off the wall here. Who do you think gets the net in Game 1 for Boston? Is it Ullmark or Swayman?
Oh, that's the $1 million question in Boston right now. That's what everyone's been talking about now for 2-3 weeks.
I think Swayman's the guy, man.
I do too. I think Swayman's going to get it. I think Swayman's getting locked up long term.
If you don't think the hockey gods are blessing Alaskans, look what David Carl's Denver University did.
No, I think Swayman gets it, but I think we might see the same rotation in the playoffs that we've seen in the regular season, where it literally goes Game 1 Swayman, Game 2 Ullmark, Game 3 Swayman, Game 4 Ullmark.
Okay, I wanted to come back to this question that Tim York asked about 20 minutes ago. He asked Hot Take Hockey, he goes, do you think we might see Matt Murray in by Game 4 if the Leafs are on the verge?
No. I don't. Okay. Like, is it sorry, I didn't see the comment. Is it banter? Like, what's the vibe on this comment?
No, Tim York. So Tim York's a Leafs fan, lives in Calgary. He's in Pearlo's demographic. And he's a big ice guy. He's a good gambler. He's one of our regulars. Tim's a great guy. He's been on the show before. So he's not trolling you. I think he's asking you a legit question.
Okay. So yeah, like the only chance you're seeing that guy is if God forbid an injury happened and then Joseph Woll looked like incredibly shaky in a game and they just needed a veteran to go in. Like, I'm talking nightmare scenario here, Jeremiah. The fact that I'm even saying this out loud.
Yeah, like goalie's not hurt. Yeah, I know. I was just curious because I had heard Kipper say early in the year that there was a potential Murray could be back for the playoffs. And look, we just know he's done it before. He's a big body. If he doesn't overplay, I almost feel like if these goalies now just don't overplay their position, they'll let in 2 or less goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's as long as they get clear sight lines, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not trying to devalue the position, but it doesn't feel like the way it did in the 90s, especially in the trap era, where like Brodeur and Waugh would just take over games, or Dominic Hasek. You just don't see that very much anymore. And Tim is saying exactly. So I don't know where you guys are at. By the way, awesome guys. I know I do well with 10 comments. We got 50 people in the chat. So between all the platforms, so appreciate it. I know that wouldn't happen if we didn't have HGH or Off the Wall. So I really appreciate all you guys coming out. Yeah, so I want, since John was talking about the goalie rotation there, I think it's a smart move for Boston to stick with what's worked for him this year. But
100%.
Swayman's been the better of the goalies. I know he hasn't been great the last month here or so, but
he picked it back up the last 2-3 weeks and actually showed okay, I think Swayman's back on his game.
He's just young and finding his body is figuring out what he needs to be in for.
Yeah, I mean he's clearly the franchise goalie of the future. It's
just Ullmark 100% gets traded in the offseason. I think
absolutely.
Yeah, and I also believe Markstrom, will see Markstrom on the move. But I think Ullmark is the more likely goalie to be traded. Hot take, I think the Capitals look to move Darcy Kemper. Let's see how Edmonton does in the playoffs. If I think Edmonton gets shelled early, they might take a flyer on Darcy Kemper, who's an Edmonton kid.
Maybe attach a first-round pick to Campbell and then take Kemper?
I don't think you need – I think yes. I think that's exactly something like that. They get a late first for Campbell to take in the Campbell contract on. Campbell gets a redo with the Caps. It's a wash in salary, basically. They both make about the same. So Edmonton gets a change where they have a veteran backup or a veteran starter and let Stu Skinner play 40,
man.
35.
They should have done that before the deadline. Kemper could have killed his former team.
Yeah, I actually was advocating it on this show. Rico and Pearlo can tell you. I thought it was a good move because the Caps aren't playing him. He's not playing. He's played good the last few starts, but I mean, Charlie Lindgren got 80% of the starts down the stretch. They're putting the Minnesota kid in with the mustache, old Chuck, and he's just slaying it. So, it's been good. Now let's go to another team where they're not playing their projected starter. And I should have tried to have Kim on too, but the Islanders are going to start Varlamov, and they're playing the Hurricanes. HGH, let's just go with you right away. What do you think of this series?
Yeah, no, I don't want to down on any series. Like I said, I'm always an advocate for hockey and playoffs, but I feel like I've seen this a few times now, and it's just every time it was probably the most boring series. It's just Rod. You know how Rod Brind'Amour's Hurricanes play. Patty Waz Islanders maybe a little bit.
I have a question for you though on that because Pearlo has been debating this, and since you brought up the Hurricanes play, and I saw Ryan Whitney tweet about this too. Do you think that man-to-man, that man-on-man, is sustainable in the playoffs for 4 rounds to win the Stanley Cup?
No, I mean, I think the question's answered just based on the recent history, Jeremiah. I think there's certain levels where that style of play really bodes well, but then when it gets down to it, when it's ultimate skill versus ultimate skill, the best skill players in the league are able to get around that, are able to avoid that. And I think when you've seen Carolina get eliminated, it's exactly that. Or I mean, yeah, it's as simple as maybe a better system. But I have said Aho's the guy, man. If Carolina wants to go crazy this year, they need that guy. I mean, we've said maybe it's Svechnikov, maybe it's someone else, maybe Seth Jarvis is the gem that just keeps on going. But I think at the end of the day, if Aho can step up to a crazy degree to be one of those playoff stars, I mean, that style will translate for a couple of rounds, and then they just need that guy to just project them over. So, yeah, man, I don't know if that style alone gets them the 4 rounds, but
so you like him in this series, though?
Yeah. I think here's the thing. I think with the Hurricanes, it's kind of similar to a few other teams, whether it's Toronto, whether it's Edmonton. Goaltending is going to play the factor here because I think with Islanders, similar to Boston, if Varlamov, if it doesn't work out in game 1, you're going to Ilya Sorokin, right? So I think that's kind of where it comes down to. As long as Hurricanes get a goaltender, a goalie that just steps up, like I said, that 70-80%, I think they're winning this series. I don't want to cut the Islanders short, but they should win this series comfortably if they get goaltending.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that.
What were the Islanders at the end of the season? They were -20 or close to that. goal differential. I think the Caps were like minus 35. Not to down.
Yeah, 37. Yeah, but I mean, honestly, with the Caps, like they either won a game 4-3, 2-1, and they either lost the game like 7-0. It was just weird. They didn't have any close losses. They just had like absolute beatdowns or like close games. Colorado scored again. It's 5-1.
Oh shit!
In that game.
I was gonna give a shout to J-Dub too, because I mean, yeah, like I say it every year, but I'm forgetting right now because he's the new addition. But if Gensel can play the way he's been playing this season, I mean, we know he's a noted playoff performer. So that's the side that could really be a difference for Carolina.
I'll just say this: I'd much rather play the Rangers as a Caps fan than Carolina. Even though we beat Carolina earlier in the year, we ain't beating that team.
Fair. I was gonna say like Igor's had some big games towards the end of the season, man. So I don't know if I'd want to face.
Oh, Shesterkin? Yeah, no. I mean, yeah, we kind of already went over that series. You guys know where I stand. I support the health of my marriage over the win of my hockey team. I just want to enjoy the playoffs and have great games, but it's like zero pressure for me. I got to see my team win a Stanley Cup in my lifetime. I feel lucky. A lot of fans don't get to do that, so I'm just not going to stress. Okay, so do you feel like you've got to give your spiel on Islanders Carolina? Okay, Jon Duncan, off the wall. Where are you at, buddy?
I think HTH summed it up perfectly when he said if Carolina gets goaltending, any sort of goaltending, they should win this series comfortably. And I agree with him 100% on that. I'm looking at Canes in 5 or 6 here. I will say the Islanders, they deserve a lot of credit for what they did the last month or so of the season. They were one of those teams that was on that bubble fighting for every point to get into the playoffs. And then by the end of it, they were actually, they locked up that third spot pretty comfortably while the Capitals, Red Wings, Penguins, everyone else was battling it out for that last spot. They got really hot. They finished the year 8-1-1 in their last 10 and ended up pretty securely in. So the Islanders are hot and they deserve credit for making the playoffs when, 3-4 months ago, they didn't really look like a team that was going to be in the playoffs. So I just don't think they can match up to Carolina's talent level. I mean, the Hurricanes are a much more talented team. There's no question about that. And like I think, like HGH said, if Carolina gets even B-level goaltending, they should win this series pretty comfortably.
Rock on. Okay. Rico, go ahead and give your thoughts on that series.
Yeah, I'm with John here too. 5-game series, maybe 6 if the Islanders goalie can totally steal the game here. But simply put, the Hurricanes hardly have any holes in their lineup. I mean, remember last year they were without Svechnikov last year. Now they added Gensel, and then all of a sudden Seth Jarvis has scored 33 goals this year.
Yeah,
probably the best defensive crew in the league. When you go number 1 to 6, you got Chatfield and Orlov sitting at the bottom, and Freddie Anderson's played really, really well lately. And if for some reason he can't handle the workload of going into a deep run, never mind this first series, you got Kochetkov right behind him too. So
yeah, I like Kochetkov. I'm a big Kochetkov guy.
Carolina is stacked to go on a run here. So I'll say 5, maybe 6, but Carolina definitely wins the series.
Well, and Rico, to be fair to our listeners, if you haven't been with us the whole year, since we've got a lot of people in, Rico's Stanley Cup pick was Carolina at the beginning of the year. And I don't see why you would change it because they only got better. Pearlo, where you at here with this series?
I could see a sweep. I think Carolina's going to destroy them. 5 for sure. 5. I could see them winning every game. They got way too much speed for the Islanders. I don't see how the Islanders can keep up in pretty much any position unless they get some fantastic goaltending. Their defense is overrated. They're not that. I'll give Patrick Waugh credit. He did turn them around and make them like an aggressive offensive team down the stretch, and they played their asses off. But that's another reason why I think that Carolina will take them out, because I think they're going to fade. So
okay,
yeah.
I don't want to keep Jon Duncan all night because I know he's got to get up super early, and we've already been an hour. But I did want to talk about the final Eastern Conference series before he goes. And since we don't know what's happening in the West, because, hey, guess what, guys? The Anaheim Ducks just scored on the power play and are up 1-0 on the Vegas Golden Knights. So we've got some stuff happening in the world of the NHL on the last game of the night. We've got some stuff changing. So I knew this was going to be the case. And this is why we might have a little bit longer stream, but I don't want to keep our guests who are East Coasters up. For me, guys, it's 7:05. For Willow, it's 9. And then Rico, he's good to hang out late. He's a late night guy, so he's always good to be with us. So I don't stress. But John, I know you're. I know you probably got to get up early, so why don't we just real quick go into the Lightning Panthers and then just let everybody know when you're going to be streaming again. John does great play-by-play for the games where you could just get together with your friend. I always consider it like the best hockey bar on the internet. You go there and you get to listen to your friends, and he does a great play-by-play, but he'll also talk some hockey with you. So it's a really good time, the intermission and stuff. So I always enjoy trying to pop into John's streams and usually buy him a beer or two. When I'm there, always on the figurative thing. And we've got HTH back, so we'll bring him back in. Lightning Panthers. Where you like this one? I'm going to go with Jon Duncan first. How do you like this series?
Oh, this is the one I'm looking forward to the most as far as non-Bruin series. This is going to be an absolute bloodbath, and I cannot wait. I think this is going to be
more of attrition.
This is going to be hatred in a series, and it's going to be an all-out battle. I'm so excited for this one. I cannot wait to watch these teams play. Tampa obviously has been great for years now. They got their couple cups. Panthers still trying to get that cup. They came so close last year. Obviously, Florida just rolled with it this year, ended up winning the division. They took all that momentum from last year and were a great team this year. Lightning are just kind of still trying to hold it together. You see them, obviously a lot of guys from those cup teams are no longer there, but they've still kept some of the main core pieces. They've filled in the blanks with, the Brandon Hagels and the Nick Pauls and guys like that. And
Tanner Jeannot.
Yeah, Jeannot coming over, who I love Tanner Jeannot. They paid way, way, way too much for him in that trade, but I love Jeannot as a player. Mikey Esamont's a great guy to watch. He's just a little bundle of energy.
What's the Chafee? Is it Chafee?
Oh, Lincoln Chafee, yeah.
Is he a Hockey East guy too?
He might be. I honestly don't remember. He's been in the minors for a bit, and he comes up and just Tampa's just held it together really well. And this is the one series, like the other series, especially in the East, I have like a pretty strong feeling of like, okay, this team in this many games, this is the one that I think is an absolute crapshoot. I just have no idea what to expect because I feel like this series is going to get so chaotic and so out of control that we just don't know what it's going to turn into, because these teams will brawl it out. This will be like 2012 Pittsburgh, Philadelphia. Like these teams will brawl it out. These teams can both score a ton of goals. I remember watching that series back in the early 2010s with the Flyers and Penguins, and there were literally games that were like 9-7 with 180 penalty minutes. And like, I think that's what we could be seeing with this series. And I really hope we do, because I'll watch every minute of it. But this, I think, is the toughest one to predict. I just think Florida winning the division as good as they were in the playoffs last year and then carrying that into this season. I think the Panthers are going to squeak it out. I'm going to say Panthers in 7 and the most chaos we've seen in a playoff series in a long time.
Mitchell Chafee was first-team All-American in the Hockey East in 2019, and he was signed by Minnesota on March 24th as a free agent. So,
where did he play?
Yeah,
I'll look
UMass.
it
Oh,
UMass?
Okay.
UMass, okay, yeah. All right, HTH, what do you got, my man? Florida, Tampa Bay, your rival.
Yep. I mean,
Leafs ain't playing him. Leafs ain't playing him.
John gave a good breakdown there. I think. I think you could look at so many different aspects. I'll probably hop off after this one, but I'll give a good analysis here. I think with the Panthers, my thing is that compared to last year, I thought like the defense core that they had, I think a lot of the guys are adapting this year. So I think it's been fine in the regular season. But I'm really wondering the structure of their defense, but also a big thing for the Panthers last year was like Brandon Montour in the playoffs. Like that guy was an absolute beast in the playoffs. So I'll be curious to see on that aspect because, I mean, again, Tampa, if Hedman steps up in the playoffs, I mean, I know he's getting over.
What about Gustav Forsling? He's been incredible for them.
No, Forsling's been great. So, yeah, I mean, we'll see. I was also going to see who they currently have on their fourth line, because that's kind of also been something that Maurice has been kind of tossing up around. Like Lomberg's been in the lineup at times, and they've kind of been running. Yeah, they've been running Gadjevich has been in and out, and like they've kind of run like a Nick Cousins up and down the lineup at times. But yeah, I mean, I think the big thing last year was like Luostarinen, Lundell, and Reinhart in the playoffs. We're kind of a very sneaky third line, but obviously Reinhart's just been ripping it up, so now he's in the top line.
Yeah, Reinhart has the quiet in my life.
Yeah.
So, I think it's really going to come down to, again, if the Panthers' kind of new defense structure can step up, because, I mean, obviously with no Ekblad, it's really down to Montour and Forsling. To me, I think the other guys are really meh. Like, I mean, like they've got size. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Mikkel is a beast, but just can be a bum. Like, so I think it really comes down to if the Lightning can really expose that. But at the same time, then I just go back to the Lightning. Like they're thin. They're thin a little bit on the defense as well, past their top two. So I'm probably, honestly, weird enough, I'm probably leaning Florida. I think in other years I'd probably go Tampa to take the matchup, but I think, again, it's a lame answer, but I really think it's going to come down to goaltending. If Bobrovsky can play like that 70-80% version of himself, I think the Panthers have the edge in this series. But you should never, ever, ever count on Vasilevsky, because last year Tampa took Toronto to 6, and Vasilevsky was stinky at times in that series. So I think if Vasilevsky was closer to himself, I think Tampa probably takes that series. And honestly, I think Toronto was actually more deserving to beat Tampa in 2022 than last year. So I think Tampa. I think if Tampa gets Vasilevsky that they know they can get, plus the big aspect that a lot of people are not talking about, that I feel like they should be talking about more, is we keep talking about like Stamkos, could he leave in the offseason, all these things, but like, have we not seen over and over again, especially veterans when they're ready to prove themselves? Like I've seen Pavelski, I've seen like a lot of these guys when they're older and ready for another contract to prove themselves, they just go off in the playoffs. So I'm expecting a huge series from Stamkos. So again, I think based on just logic, like Panthers have the edge in this series, but there's a couple momentum aspects, like Vasilevsky after last year really shit the bed, Stamkos in a contract year. And I mean, obviously Kucherov's as hot as anyone right now, just in terms of production. So again, analytically, I feel like, and just depth wise, Panthers look better for me. But keep an eye on those momentum stories for Tampa. That's what I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, Tampa has the game breakers, right? Hey, real quick, I just wanted to update everybody and to know that we're going to lose HTH and John off the wall here really soon. So we'll kind of officially end the podcast, but we'll stay live to chat with everybody because we don't know what's going to happen. So you guys hang out as much as you want, but I'll officially end the podcast as soon as Rico and Pearlo give their picks. And we'll finish up with the Eastern Conference, but we'll stay live because we don't know. The Chicago Blackhawks are beating the Kings. So if the Chicago Blackhawks beat the Kings, then the Vegas Golden Knights are the 3rd seed and they'll play Edmonton. So we've got Vegas has 15 shots on goal and at times look like they've dominated in their end, but they're losing 1-0. Anaheim scored on a power play, so going to be real interesting. Also, we know Jeff Carter retired today. Zach Parise announced he's retiring. This will be his last regular season game. So after this playoff run with the Colorado Avalanche, we will see him retire, pretty much a U.S. legend. So I just really want to thank HGH and Jon Duncan from Off the Wall Hockey coming again. They're multiple time visitors on this show. HGH has popped in a ton for us this year. Really appreciate it. And so I'll end the podcast, but we'll stay live on everything that allows us to stay live: Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, and Instagram. We'll see how long Instagram lets us stay live. But I really appreciate everybody popping on. Let's just Samuel B came on both this show and the Instagram. So Sam, thank you. And then so Pearlo and Rico, just give your thoughts, and then we'll call that the end of the podcast. I wanted to just leave a like, subscribe. Appreciate again HGH and Off the Wall for hanging with us for a bit, especially on that East Coast time. But us diehards, and again, I have a large geographical excuse. I'm 4 hours behind you, so it's not late for me at all. I really appreciate it. Again, it means the world to me. You guys are awesome friends, and I hope I'm half as good of to you guys as that you've been to me. So I appreciate you. Go ahead, Pearlo. Let's rock and roll with this pick real quick.
Yeah, I a lot of what John and Hot Take said there. Florida, you kind of got to worry about the defense, but I think their top 9 forwards are some of the best two-way forwards in the league. Maybe only the Winnipeg Jets can take them in that regard. So they can eat up a lot of that poor defense, especially in the first round. They may fade down the stretch, but in the end, I think they'll end up taking Tampa here. But the thing is, you got that Tampa mystique, right? Like they can just find a way. Like there's that type of team that will do whatever it takes to get there. So it's going to be one hell of a series. I think this is going to be a classic. I think it's going to be fantastic to watch. But I would lean Florida, yeah, for sure.
Rock on. Rico, where are you at on this one?
Yeah, pardon me. Florida's got a great shot at winning this series. One other guy you could probably mention in the Selke conversation, even though he's got a whack load of goals this year, is Reinhart. He's been excellent defensively all year too for Florida. But I'm going to be interested how this series kind of takes on. If it's going to be a little bit of a rougher series, a little bit closer, is it going to be a run and gun series? The thing is, if Florida starts playing a little bit rough with Tampa is so good at high danger chances. They're clipping at almost 30% on the power play this year, and they got a top 5 penalty kill. So not so fast if Florida wants to try and rough up this series a bit. So it's going to be interesting how the series goes on, but at plus money and the money you're going to make by betting the Tampa Bay Lightning, I'm going to take the Lightning to win this series. It'll go the distance, but I think Tampa runs it in 7. Additions of Duclair and Dumba, just guys healthy, and Kucherov is at a clip, and these guys are just high danger scorers, and they're doing it every single night for the Lightning, and they got cups in that room, man. So they're the king of the Eastern Conference, even though Florida made it to the finals last year. Tampa's last team in that conference to win a cup, so beat them.
Yep, got you. I got you. Well, again, thank you, John and John, HGH, Off the Wall. You guys are legends. Appreciate you. Go get some rest. Give me a call, HGH, when you have some time. We're not live tomorrow. We're going to figure out our playoff schedule. We are going to stay live. Again, leave a like, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. We will stay live to find out what the Western Conference matchups are. Me, Pearlo, and Rico, as long as they can go, we'll just BS. But we're officially in the podcast at 119. But everybody's welcome to stay in the chat and all that stuff. So appreciate you all. Thank you very much. If you guys have any parting words, go ahead. We'll see you. Yeah, I'll just
go Leafs go.
I'll let you leave on your own, or I could drop you down, just whatever you need. Yep. Okay.
Is it over, the pod?
No, yeah, we're done, but we're still live.
Okay.
We're still live.
Okay, cool. I mean, I was gonna say I can stay on for like 5 more minutes if you want, unless you're kicking me off.
Yeah, just BS with us. Now we're just gonna. I mean, we can't talk about the Western matchups because they're not set.
Yeah, no. So, I know. Well, I was so. What was I gonna say? Oh, I was just gonna say. So I think Jeremiah, but I don't know if these guys know. So like, my sleep is the reason why I was only committed to 15 minutes. I didn't know how long I was gonna stay, just because I've been like in and out of like half asleep. I just got back from Vegas, so I'm like exhausted.
Yeah, nice.
So,
did you take a trip or was that a work thing?
It was like a broadcast conference for work. Yeah. So
Okay, but when you go to Vegas, it's always a little bit of a vacation, correct?
Honestly, man, no, this one wasn't, to be honest. I was like, it was like
You didn't eat any good food or anything?
Honestly, I went to like I went to this. I don't know if you know, like, do you know the hotel, like, in landscape and like everything down there, or not really?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay, so do you know the Westgate Hotel?
Westgate. What's it close to? What's it close to?
It's one of at one point it was like the biggest hotel in North America. It was like built in like the 70s or 80s, I think.
I mean, the Bellagio is ridiculous. And
I was near Caesar's Palace and Bellagio at one point. But,
okay.
I'm trying to.
Yeah, so you were staying at the Westgate.
Yeah, I stayed at the Westgate. So I went to the same restaurant like all 3 nights. But basically, yeah, like I was at this conference and I basically had to be like on site at the conference from like 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then I had like customer dinners every night, or like network dinners every night. And then basically like, a couple nights I went out, but it wasn't like anything too crazy. But then, I mean, my dinner ended up getting switched early. So like last minute, I ended up going to the Knights game, which was sick.
Oh, okay. I saw you tweet a picture from that. And I was like, yeah, isn't that a great arena?
So I've knocked another one. I've knocked another one off the bucket list. I've knocked off Mullet. Well, I mean, again, they're not going to be there anymore, but I knocked off Mullet Arena.
I never got to the Mully. So disappointed. I could have gone this year too, but
like I'm actually like now with the situation, like it's just frig, man. Like I'm actually sad for Yotes fans. Like I think it's like one of those things where like you don't realize like how sad it is until it actually happens, and now I'm just like, shit, man.
What sucks is they're gonna lose all those young players they drafted and developed only to get a expansion franchise with a decent arena and a better ownership group. So they sacrificed the crappy owner to hopefully have in 2027, 2028. And I think the youth hockey is still going to be a huge there, man. Like I saw they were tweeting pictures at the Coyotes Den where a lot of the kids play and stuff. So yeah, but to hear Walshy and all those guys' comments, Biz, he wasn't there. It was really bittersweet because he was doing the TNT. It was pretty sad, man. Like we talked about it. I wore the jersey yesterday during the live stream.
Yeah, the crazy part is on the Adidas website, the home Kachina jerseys are sold out now after the announcement.
Everybody thinks they're going to be collector's items for sure.
So I was kind of down bad because I went to it like yesterday and I was like, oh shit, they're gone. But
you don't have a Kuchina? You don't have a Kuchina jersey?
I have a white one. I wanted the home
black one. Yeah, I don't have a white one. So, I mean, I used to have like a Keith Tkachuk one. It wouldn't fit a baby now. But when I was like 165 pounds in the Army, I had a whatever they were wearing back then, starter, I think. So, hey, Avi, what's up, man? Good to see you. Occupancy's been in the chat. J-Dub. Everybody, appreciate everybody hanging out. So we do know that Colorado and Winnipeg and our good friend Occupancy, who's on. And you haven't met Ted. He comes on Mondays with us, HTH. He's awesome. He lives in the San Jose area. But he grew up on Long Island. He's an Islanders fan, but he's a hockey fan, and he's a really good gambler along with Rico and Pearlo. I think you guys knew him from the Ice Guys, right? And so he's come on, and we've made him part of our show for Mondays. And then we got another guy now, Mike, the Degenerate Gambler. I didn't send Mike the DM tonight because I knew it was going to be kind of packed, but he was on with us Mondays. He's committed to Mondays so far. I met him at the Frozen Four, and he was actually kind of being bullied by this guy, but he was a really awesome dude. I listened to him, and he was super smart. He works in finance, and he's a degenerate hockey gambler. And he had a bunch of hockey memorabilia. What did he show us? He showed us Ray Bork's game-winning goal in Game 6 from the Stanley Cup Finals against the Devils. He has that puck signed. He bought it for like I think $7,500. He said it, and I said it's easily worth $15,000 now, right? So yeah, that was pretty cool. So he's like a legit hockey collector. Like I'm like, oh, I got some jerseys. So I have a Dennis Maruk autograph puck that somebody got me for a gift. He scored 60 goals for the Caps in like 81. So, yeah. So we do know. Like our man Occupancy said, he sees a lot of people taking the Jets over the Avalanche. I think they're taking the Jets over the Avalanche because the Jets have straight owned the Avalanche. They've 16-4. They're 3-0. 16 goals for the Jets. 4 for the is it 4 or 6 for the Avalanche? Might be getting that wrong. And they just owned them. It's a bad matchup for. And then look, guys, we've said it all year. Colorado needed to get that second goalie. I loved their ads and Trennan and who else did they add?
Middlestat.
Well, they added Middlestat, but they added another third line guy
Sean Walker.
They added Sean Walker, the defenseman. Yeah, so they added a lot of nice pieces.
Yakov Trennan. That was a nice.
Yeah, I said Trennan like 4 times. I said Trennan.
And
sorry.
Brandon
Duhaime, that was the other guy I was thinking of. Yeah,
I'm sweating.
Was the guy.
I'm sweating this San Jose Calgary game. Excuse me.
What do you mean you're sweating the San Jose?
I got the over. I got the over.
Oh,
I just need one goal.
That over didn't hit that? Oh yeah, it's 5.5, wasn't it?
It was 6.
You're not getting it, dude. You're not getting it.
I'll push. I'll take a push. And I got it. I got the push.
Jeremiah, I was gonna say Rico's sweating in the pixels over there.
No, I didn't get the push. Did I? Yeah, I got the push.
Yeah.
Okay, San Jose scored with 0 time left, basically.
Yeah,
I didn't even have that game on, guys. Like I have over. Oh, I got these really awesome like arm things. We're still live, but they hold your iPads like up, so I have them off my screen now. So I've just got more desk space. Not that I need the more desk space. But
so
I was gonna do the. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say. So I'll go try to find it here in a second. But I've managed to collect 3 bobbleheads this year, like 3 pretty cool ones too.
Nice, yeah, dude, that's sweet.
So you got
the Iginla. Dude, were you at the Flames game?
My mom went she went on a work trip, went to the Flames game, brought that back.
Okay.
And we got this one, Matt, the AZ Coyote guy. When I went to Mullet, got me this one. Donor.
Nice.
And then it was Jack Eichel bobblehead night when I was at Knights Blackhawks the other night. So I got a Jack Eichel bobblehead.
I've never been at a game where I got a bobblehead.
Yeah, I mean, I think some teams do like a couple per year, maybe. But the Leafs, Rico, I don't know if you track that. I don't know if I track it either. I don't think the Leafs do bobblehead nights.
They just the Blue Jays do them all year long, but the Leafs don't really.
Must be a superstition thing. Here, I wanted to share this tweet with you, and I just thought it was easier to take a screenshot of it since we're kind of in between. We'll talk this Avalanche Winnipeg thing, but this is the patents at the U.S. trademark at the Utah Fire. Will be called Utah. It won't be Salt Lake City or anything because I think they already have. Within an hour, they sold 6,000. They had got 6,000 season tickets. So within an hour, they basically have gone to more capacity than the Mullet held all year. So the Utah Blizzard, Utah Venom, Utah Fury, Utah HC, Utah Hockey Club. I actually like Utah Hockey Club. I think that would be sick. I was for the Yetis. I thought the Utes would be cool too because of the college, but I'm sure there's all kinds of legalese they'd have to get over. What do you guys think of these names? I'll drop this out if you need it up.
Yeah, well, the Yetis they won't be able to because of the Yeti manufacturer. No,
but Yeti manufacturers Yeti singular, YETI. So if you just call yourself the Yetis, like plural, I don't think it'll be a problem. Plus, you just say, "Hey, man, you could be one of our sponsors, and we'll give you like a discount." You know. because Yeti, this is a Yeti. This is a Yeti. I have 4 Yeti coolers. I love Yeti stuff. I mean, I can drive 5 hours with 80 pounds of ice in my thing, and it's still all ice. Those things kick ass. I mean, they're very good. So SLC Punks, Greg Engelberg, rock on, Greg. That's it. If you don't know, that's a deep dark for a movie called SLC Punk with Matthew Lillard. I highly recommend watching it. It's an old movie, but it's a goodie. So what do you think? What do you got, HGH? Which one do you like?
Am I picking just amongst those or just my?
Well, yeah, I mean, you pick your own. I mean, those are the ones they filed for patent and trademark. Now they've hired a couple of advertising firms to come up with something good. They need to do it quickly. So my take, and again, people are crapping on me, but I actually think if anything, a lot of Knights fans getting at me. So I think it actually, if anything, it would create a rivalry right off the bat. But I was saying Golden Eagles. I know a lot of people are saying there's already a Golden team in the league. Maybe Colorado.
Maybe there'd be too much crossover, but that was one of the ones I liked.
We could just go with Eagles.
Yeah, so I was trying to think, guys, correct me if I'm wrong. Is there a lot of nickname crossover around major sports? I feel like there's not, right? So obviously Philadelphia.
No, there's the New York Giants, the San Francisco Giants, baseball, football. There's
No, I know, but there's not many. I was trying to I think I thought of a couple, but
there's a shitload of Bulldogs. The NHL doesn't have a Bulldog, but you have
sports. Yeah. I'm just thinking.
No, but basketball. Yeah, no, I'm seeing what you're saying.
The Florida Panthers and the Carolina Panthers was the other one I thought of.
Yep, there's one. Yep.
But there's not many. There's 2 or 3. So
there are actually Panthers in Florida too. So it's something the Jaguars have a Panther for their logo, but it's a Jaguar, right?
Yeah, no, agreed. Eagles, just Eagles could be cool. I think they could do cool stuff.
Texas Rangers, New York Rangers.
Oh, yeah, actually, you know what? Good call. I didn't even think about that one.
Andrew says a Yeti is a scary monster. Yeah, but Andrew, they got if they have the Yeti from they could use the cartoon Yeti from the what was it Toy Story? What was the Monsters Inc. They had the cartoon.
Actually, Occupancy has a good show. Outlaws. Sorry to interrupt. I just read that right now. Outlaws could be something.
Yeah, Outlaws is a good one. They applied for patents for Blizzard, Venom, Fury, HC, and Hockey Club. Somebody said they liked Venom on Twitter. That's the only thing I saw. I actually don't hate the Utah Hockey Club. What do you think, Pearlo Rico? What do you got on this? Yeah, Arizona Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals.
You'd be cool with Hockey Club full time?
I wouldn't hate it. I actually like the Washington football team. I didn't hate it. I didn't think it was terrible. Because, you go overseas, they have UC, Utah HC, if they did Utah Hockey Club. I don't know.
No, I get it. I mean, I just think, it's just, to me, I think it would have to be more consistent in the league. Sorry, I want to let Rico and Pearlo. I don't think Venom's too bad as long as they don't make it too, cheesy. I think it could be sick. But, if they start making it too cheesy. Anyways, Rico and Pearlo, sorry to.
Blizzard would be cool, too. But yeah, they don't have to. One of you guys want to chime in, or?
Utah Venom sounds good, but I guess there's already a Utah Grizzlies. They're still there, aren't they not?
Right, but they could acquire that name too. This guy's so rich. It's if they could just say, "Hey, look, we'll make you our AHL team or whatever." Because
so sick.
So the Tucson Roadrunners are in fact, I read today that Alex Morello is going to move the Tucson Roadrunners to the Mullet Arena, which is absolutely asinine because you already have a fan base in Tucson that loves going to see those games. But whatever.
Utah Roadrunners?
He is such a disaster of a freaking owner.
Yeah. So no, Morello he's keeping ownership of they're keeping the name and all the records of the Yotes and everything. I'm going to tell you guys though, I think after this all shapes out, he will have nothing to do with them. I don't think he wins this land auction even. I don't know. In fact, I'm not sure he had the money to win the land auction. And I think because the rumor mills, like I said yesterday, I don't know if you heard a little bit of the show yesterday, but some of the stuff I've heard from legit sources, John, was that they weren't paying their hotel bills.
No, I know. I saw that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's a joke. I sure don't think he's a joke. That's like, I think it's as simple as that to me. Like,
I think the pandemic really crippled him too, because I heard he had a lot of money in like hotels and stuff. And I just think like he was probably one of those guys that had like a lot of money, but was, but like on paper and maybe like actual asset wise. By the way, Vegas tied it up. It's 1-1.
He owns casinos. He owns casinos. He's doing
which got affected by pandemic too, right? Because nobody could go. So So I think if Vegas ties this and LA win or loses, they're screwed. By the way, the Blackhawks have 4 shots on goal and the LA Kings have 15 and they're losing. Good God.
Are you talking about like the Utah Roadrunners because they killed the Coyotes?
No. I'm talking about the Tucson Roadrunners being the AHL team for the Phoenix Coyotes or Arizona Coyotes. That's still staying in Arizona. They're going to exist.
No, but I see what Rico's saying. I think like they haven't really made it clear yet if that's going to be the direct AHL team.
Well, yeah, because in the Looney Tunes, the Roadrunner kills the Coyote, so it should be Utah Roadrunners because they killed the Coyotes.
But you already have a Roadrunner team. I get what you're saying.
I see what both of you guys are saying, but do we know? I've been napping guys today. Do we know if the Tucson Roadrunners are going to directly be the Utah AHL team?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I don't think that anything's set in stone for the AHL, and they're going to have to figure that out because they're getting all the players. So are they leaving them there in Tucson or now going to be the Mullet? So you essentially got moved up to the team where your NHL team was playing. But so I don't know. And here's the other thing, and just in news, and guys, we would be talking Western Conference matchups, but we really don't know them. The only one we have set in stone is Winnipeg Jets and Avalanche, which we'll talk about real quick. But the Carolina Hurricanes don't have an AHL team, and they're trying to get that resolved. In fact, they offered to buy and create one, but the AHL wasn't having it. So it was like, because they wanted to, like just, and honestly, like they should just create, like allow them to create one and put it in like, so they play at Raleigh. I would just put one in Charlotte. They have a basketball team there. You already have an arena situation there, and then your guys aren't far away. Because look, it's working out great for a lot of these teams now. Like the Kings guys used to be in Manchester. Now they play in like real close. So and Seattle has Coachella Valley even. So we'll see. Like it's going to be really interesting. So Kings and Knights are both tied. Now I think if both of them get a point, it's not going to matter. So, I think I have the scores up to date too, Andrew.
Yeah, it's 1-1.
Yeah. So lots of time left in that game.
I'm going to hop off.
John, thanks for coming with us and hanging out as long as you did.
I don't even know. I haven't decided what I'm going to do yet. I might just lay down and let fate decide. If I fall asleep, I fall asleep. If somehow I stay awake until the end of the game, I might just
We'll keep you awake. You can just listen in, and you have the link. So you can pop back in anytime you want.
All right, guys.
Are you working tomorrow? Are you working tomorrow?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So sorry, man. Get some rest. Yeah, we'll let you know if you keep us on. We'll let you know what's happening. And I know, Pearlo, this gets to be about the time where you have to go too. So, but I know we talked about having a long stream tonight, so because we just didn't know what was going to happen. And
I like that. Get the bevies flowing.
See you, John. Nice seeing you again, buddy.
Yeah, brother. Thank you so much, man. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks as always. Cheers, guys.
See you, buddy.
You coming on.
See you later.
Oh, Salty says there's going to be an ECHL. ECHL team isn't a big deal, though, Salty, because the ECHL team doesn't have anything to do with the AHL. They can't put those level of players at that level because they would just dominate. So now that ECHL team could be affiliated with Utah, where they could move some of their players there, because I'm sure Arizona has some guys in ECHL. But I bet if you asked some of the NHL players, they felt like they were on an ECHL team from some of the stuff I was hearing.
What about the Utah work from homes?
Yeah.
Hmm?
I didn't get to chime in on this, but I like the HC. I like that.
Yeah, the HC, like short for hockey club.
Hockey club. I like that HC. I think that's pretty cool. It's like professional. It's classy. It's
Oh yeah, now people.
Like
HC has a question for you. Tim Tebow owns that East Coast Hockey League team, huh? That's interesting.
Tebow's?
Tim Tebow owns that Lake Tahoe hockey team. That's a good idea, man. I'm telling you, I've heard the Utah Soakers so many times. I'm sick of it, J-Dub. It's just the stupidest fucking thing ever. Like, seriously.
Utah Soakers? Why Soakers?
Soakers.
Honestly, Pearlo, it's going to take me longer than I care to explain it to you.
If it's Utah Soakers, there's going to be too many people having fun in our chat with that.
Yeah, it ain't going to be the Utah Soakers. I fucking promise you that shit. Because Pat McAfee pulled that shit with Ryan Smith when he had him on and asked him. And there's not going to be no Utah Soakers. Utah Uber's the first sponsored team name, the Ubers, because of the Uber thing.
Can you imagine that? All of a sudden, a company like Uber pays that much more. Like you see milk on the side of a. Can you imagine Uber across your jersey and you're called the Uber?
Dude, you got to have a team name. You got to, please, God, no. Like, you got to have a team.
What if Uber pays you $50 million to put it on your chest per year?
See you, Andrew. Have a great night. Yeah, no, I don't know, man.
See you, Andrew.
Well, if they paid me to do that, I would tattoo it on my forehead. No problem.
It'd be the Salt Lake City Pearlos.
Would you need 50 million? I mean, shoot, you could just wear a hat all the time.
I wouldn't need 50 million. No, I
might do it for 5.
I would pimp myself out for a lot less than that.
I think 5 million would be like my low. Utah Unicorns is interesting. Yeah, but Utah's kind of unicorns might be
nah, can't do that.
Utah Squatches. See, I think if you go with the Squatches, you just go with the Yetis. Utah Yetis just sounds great. And because you're pluralizing it, I don't think it'll be a problem with Yeti, the cooling making franchise. I think they'll be okay.
Well, Utah's national animal is the elk.
Yeah, that could be one too.
Utah Elks.
Utah Dinos. Yeah, if you did something with dinosaurs, I don't like the Toronto Raptors.
I don't understand the blizzard part of it. Like, dude, there's actual blizzards in Utah.
Dude, they have like some of the best skiing in the world there. Yeah, they get.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah,
okay.
Park City, Utah is like creme de la creme.
Oh yeah, they do have that mountain there.
Yeah. People. I mean, Utah has a skier on its plates. Like, like their old license plate had a skier in the middle of it, like doing like Utah is a diehard ski state, so and they get some of the best snow in the world. Yeah, so they're big time. That's a big time ski place. Yeah, Park City, it's up there with like Aspen and stuff. So
isn't there a soccer team called the Blizzard too? Though I mean, not that
I don't know.
They wouldn't do it because of that.
Blizz Riz, Utah Blizz Riz. Blizz Riz. Utah wife number 3s. Yeah, the Utah polygamous. Utah Mountaineers is a really good one, occupancy. I like that one.
Yeah, Mountaineers would be cool, yeah. That would be cool.
Imagine a stadium series at BYU Stadium. That would be freaking awesome, Salty. Yeah, it would look so badass. Because, yes, it would be the shit. And you know what? They could do that shit in like March. You know, they could have a late stadium series game, which would be cool. I think they should always have. They should have a spring stadium series game. I think it would be cool.
Utah Canyons. How about the Utah Canyons?
You could do Utah like canyons. Yeah, you could do that. That's a good one.
I like Utah. We'll see.
I mean, dude, I thought the Kraken. A lot of people were like, "Oh, it'll be a terrible name," but then I was like, "No, the way they designed the jersey, it looked awesome. It just made sense." Seattle's a great seafood town. The Thunderbirds, I thought, would have been a great name for them because they could have just used the logo and said, "Hey, we'll pay royalties or whatever." But
or the Utah Bruins and 5s.
So yeah, I
Never
think the
leave
Grizzlies, I think the Bruins would have a problem with somebody else using a bear for their mascot. But I think if you could figure out the Utah Grizzlies thing, see, the problem is we've had a Utah Grizzlies, and we had the Vancouver Grizzlies, and then we had the Memphis Grizzlies. I think that it's still the Memphis Grizzlies, is it not? They kept their name. So, I thought it was breaking news about NHL, but it's just biz. Just biz talking about the Beer Olympics. Okay. Popped into the Shakedown. Shout out the Shakedown. That was a podcast I was a part of before I started my own thing. Quite frankly, because I just don't care about the NFL anymore. Like, just don't. Even though I follow it still and watch it still, it's like if you took it away from me, if you said you could watch one sport the rest of your life, it's not even a decision for me. It's hockey all day long. I've never watched another sport. Baseball, give it up, whatever. I haven't watched a full baseball game since the Dodgers, like in the mid.
Yeah, I'm the same way. If I could narrow it down to one sport, if you're stuck in a jail cell for the rest of your life and you had a TV with one channel, it'd be hockey.
Yeah, I'll just take hockey all day. Every kind of hockey content.
Not even close. Yeah, easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
LA is pushing here, man. They're halfway through the game here. They have 20 shots to Chicago's 5.
21-5. I mean, come on.
21
Isn't
to 5.
Soderblom in net? Isn't your buddy Soderblom?
Hey, give Chicago credit, though. So
give them credit, yeah.
Salty says he's more invested in the NFL because the Lions are good. Yeah, no, that makes sense, Salty. Hey, it is nice. It doesn't hurt that my team is absolute dog shit, Salty. That is not.
I need one more goal.
The Lions unveiled new jerseys today, too. I think the Lions got
Edmonton's on the power play. I'm sorry, what'd you say, jerseys? What'd you say,
I think the Lions unveiled their new jerseys today.
Oh, did they? Yeah, Edmonton's on the power play here with like a minute to go. So are you watching that game live to see if you hit the over there, Pearlo? Well, you just need a goal from anybody, right?
Oh, yeah. The San Jose game went over. It went to a 6. Pearlo's not sweating anymore.
No, yeah, I pushed.
Zetterlund scored with 9 seconds left.
Yeah.
5-1. Good for San Jose not getting shut out.
Zetterlund sneaky 24 goals for the Sharks this year. That's going to be a player.
I like that Eklund kid too, man. Like I really do think, and if they get Celebrini, and then because Will Smith hasn't committed yet, so I think he's going back though. I think if Leonard's going back, I think Leonard, Smith, and Perreault is going back. I mean, he's not ready. He fell in the draft because I think a lot of teams thought he wasn't going to be ready for a few years, and I think you make your determination when you're drafted in the top 10 if you're going to have a guy within 2 or 3 years. And I think maybe some teams had a great.
Cutter Gauthier is going to go back too, is he not?
Who?
No, Gauthier signed. Gauthier signed with Anaheim.
Yeah, Gautier's playing in the game tonight for the Ducks.
Is he? That's what I was going to say. Yeah. I was just checking that.
No, he's playing. Yeah, they showed him. Yeah, that was all over Twitter. Hey, real quick, some news I didn't talk about. We'll talk about while we're waiting for this to go. And then let's just go ahead and preview Colorado and Winnipeg. Jensen and Sandin are skating for the Caps, so that's good. Mitch Marner, are they going to trade him? And then Chychrun wasn't sure he'd be back in Ottawa, so he's getting traded in the offseason. So those were just some other notes I had down on for the year that came up today. And then, of course, Parise retiring. And then the Jennings news broke an hour ago. All the more reason to give I like what PK said, that Austin going for 70 is not a distraction, and Sheldon Keefe should shut his fucking pie hole. Like, he did the guy. Utah Black Bears are Utah's largest predators. So the Utah Black Bears, you're welcome, Kevin Kerr says on Twitter. The Black Bears would work. The Black Bears would work too. I would be okay with that. So I got to get Bannerman on. Bannerman is the guy I keep thinking Arizona. Coyote Matt. I had him on before on a different show where he came and talked about the Cardinals, but he's a diehard hockey guy. And I don't know if you guys saw the story, but he recovered at the old arena the retirement number for Shane Doan because they were going to throw it away. And he grabbed it and he took it and kept it and he gave it to Shane Doan at the last game. So pretty cool. He's had it for a long time. Anyway, I got to get him on. So I'm going to try to reach out to him after next week. Oh, by the way, I didn't say when HCH next week, we're going to have the Emerald City hockey guys on. They're probably doing their last show of the night after the Seattle beat Minnesota in Minnesota. So RJ Eskinos and Dylan Travers are going to come on as a pair. We'll talk hockey matchups. We're going to have more of this playoff stuff. And then Wednesday night next week is committed. Johnny Lazarus, New York Rangers reporter, beat reporter / Daily Faceoff co-host of Morning Cup of Hockey, with my main man Colby Cohen. Those guys are great. I'm going to ask Colby to come on too, but I think I'm going to wait until the college season starts back up and get him on for a special college thing, since he calls mostly college games, even though he hosts. We got enough guys that come on and talk NHL, and I want to reach out to some of the pros like Colby Armstrong. He said he would come on, and I've reached out to Merles. I talked to him, but he wasn't in a really good place, I don't think. So I don't know what's going on there. I hope Merles is not having any personal stuff because he's a great guy. He always treated me very nice. So we'll see. Every drug dealer in 1990 looked like and drove a white BMW, and they got a picture of Mark Zuckerberg. I love it. God. Okay. All right, boys. Let's just preview this Colorado Winnipeg series, and then at some point I got to get something to eat. I might just leave you guys live. And
I got to get going too. So yeah.
You got to get going. Okay, we're like two. I knew this was going to be a long episode. Chicago just scored 2-1. Oh my God. Dude, you really think LA is going to beat Dallas with their goaltending? Oh my God. I think you're fucking off. This is a must-win game for them.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I was really surprised to see how Talbot's underlying numbers. I didn't think he was as good as he was.
Well, he was great at the beginning of the year. Again, if you don't have to play a full season, he was an all-star this year. He was great the first half of the season. Actually, dude, this is kind of a fluke. I don't put this one on him at all. It's a fluky goal. And his defenseman dropped down and got in his own way. So, and Jason Dickinson just tucked in the fortuitous bout. So, well, why don't we just call it then, man? And we don't even have to talk Western. We'll revisit everything Monday. But I'll stay in touch with me, guys, because if you feel like we need to go live this weekend or whatever to talk about the games or what's happening, maybe we'll do an impromptu one. But this will be our last show of the week. So I really appreciate everybody that came out. Gabby, good to see you. Thanks, J-Dub. We'll call it a night. Thanks to HTH. Thanks to Jon Duncan. If you listen to the podcast, the last 45 minutes wasn't on. We just BS, but thank you again. Leave a like, subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 by the end of the year. We'll see.
They took that goal away from Chicago. It's 1-1.
Oh, why did they take it?
I don't know. Went to video review. I'm not watching that game at the very moment.
Okay. Well, we'll see. Boy. Yeah, here I'll get audio. Well, they overturned it.
It was probably offside.
Maybe they tripped or pushed the defenseman into the goalie. I don't know. It was a weird one because I didn't see anything where the goal. It felt like it was. That's an odd one. Okay, well, thanks a lot, guys. We appreciate everybody that came out. Almost 2 hours tonight. We had two legends. Thanks again to Hot Take Hockey and Off the Wall Hockey. And again, next week, Johnny Lazarus and also Emerald City. I think Emerald City will be earlier in the week, Tuesday, maybe. RJ said he'd get back to me, so I don't have a definitive date locked down with those guys, but we will have them on. And then we might start going like every night for a short period of time, maybe even a little bit later, just because some of these games have to be decided for us to have something to talk about and give bets. I know we didn't give bets, but we don't have lines, guys, because the games are this weekend. So we have series lines, but you can look those up. So we have 55 people in the chat right now. We had a lot of people on Twitter, so really appreciate everybody coming out, and thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow. We'll see you Monday. Same time, unless otherwise noted in the Twitter. All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.